I do have my doors open because the weather's really nice outside. So if you hear random noises or birds, it's that reason. But I wanted to do like I guess a mid-year check-in just to see where I'm at, because we are in the month of June now. The year's halfway over, and I don't know how I feel about that. On one hand, I feel like I've not really completed anything, and on another hand, I mean, I guess I technically have, and I don't really have a feel one way or another whether I feel like I've been successful or what. I don't know. I just don't know where this year has gone. So I thought I would just go over some of my most frequently used supplies so far, and then like what my plans are in the next couple of days, and I don't know, maybe just talk about where I think I'm at. So I'm about to start getting ready to paint this guy here. Is really simple. I did post the original sketch on my Twitter the other day, so I'm planning on painting it something like this, just with like a lot of purples. And originally I was going to do something else. Well, I take that back. Originally I was going to do this anyway because it just seemed like it would be quick and easy to get done, which I think is kind of a trend that I'm doing this year anyway. But what then I also did was I accidentally drew this guy, which I also posted on my Twitter and actually did very well. I was not expecting that, but it is about to be The Lion King's 30th anniversary, which is my all-time favorite movie of all time. If you couldn't tell, I literally spit this out. It came out pretty good on my first attempt. I didn't really have to do any revisions at all. Actually, let me show you what the sketch looked like first. So if I take away all the colors, so my original sketch looked like this. It's very light, and then on top of it I was like, you know what, that actually kind of looks like a decent idea, so I added some line art. So I added the line art and I was like, that is actually not a bad idea. And again, it is about to be the anniversary, and then I decided, you know what, I bet this would be fun personally for me if I painted this in traditional media, and then I could hang it up on my wall. So I really like that, but of course for Twitter I added on the colors just so that I could see what it may look like without all the squiggly lines and stuff. So I was going to spend my weekend transferring this over onto large paper and then beginning to paint it. But that kind of seemed like a huge project endeavor. I think I might do that next. And then that one I may just do a paint along with me video. But I thought that would be a cool like video idea for the 30th anniversary. But for right now, again, because this just seems like this would be a lot quicker, I may just go ahead and get this guy done. And then on my Twitter, if you're not following me on there, I am still completing my daily doodle drawing challenge. It's my own little personal challenge that I've been doing since the beginning of the year, where I draw, really, it's supposed to be anything. Like, it's supposed to literally just be like quick sketches and upload it. It's gotten a bit more extravagant depending on the days, but I've been successfully keeping up with that the past 6 months. I have some of my favorites that I've done for this year. I can go over that too. If you're not following me there, follow me on Twitter, because that's where I post them. I have admittedly skipped a couple of days, but I'm giving myself leeway for that because I've been on vacation. So my daily drawings this year, originally it's supposed to be like a sketchbook idea, right? So I had mentioned that it should be something just simple. I could draw it on a napkin and then upload it. And for me, it's just easier to sit down on my couch at the end of the night and pull out Procreate, do a little doodle, and then upload it. And that was kind of like the original idea. So my favorites have been, they're all in Procreate, they're all digital, but honestly have been like my own personal self-portraits. I don't know what that means about myself, that I'm drawing myself all the time, but it's just kind of, I don't know, a way to get out energy or to make me feel better about myself. And I've done my dog quite a bit too, because she's darn cute. But I've been really enjoying just doing self-portraits. I really like this one. I feel like that's me in a nutshell. But I like all of them. This one's actually old, but she's still really cute too. Some of my other favorite ones I feel like have turned into like just little moments, little sparks of what I think kind of like genius. I think they make decent ideas, and that's kind of the purpose, is to keep my brain going. And the idea is, hopefully on accident, maybe I'll draw something that I can then transfer into some sort of a finished illustration. So this is one I really like. I really like that sketch. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it turned out really good. The painting, the traditional painting that I did, I don't think it necessarily translated out that well, but he's still pretty cute. I think it looks good in a sketchbook. And this one I did relatively recently. I actually really like how this one turned out. It totally happened on accident, but I tried using that mirror image Procreate thing, and it was my first attempt at using it, and I actually kind of really like the way it came out. This guy, I still really like him too. I really do think that I'm going to paint him sometime in the near future too, just to make him like a little buddy of the other pink one that I did recently. But maybe I'll flip him so that I have one that's facing that direction, the other one's facing that direction, and then if you like framed them, I think they'd look kind of cute in like a children's room or something as like a pair. And this one's dumb, but I think this pretty much accurately describes how my dog's personality is, and if she wouldn't quit barking as I'm trying to film this. Quit barking. Yeah, quit. I think that's all for my favorites for the most part so far. I do like this guy though, he's pretty cute. That's not digital, that's traditional. And then this is going to be done in the same style as these illustrations that I've pretty much been doing since last year. That one's a little bit different. This sketchbook is almost finished. I've got a couple empty pages in between. Originally, my goal when I started this book, I think it was last year, I was like, I'm gonna go true sketchbook with this. We're gonna make it sketchy and silly and not take it as seriously as I have in sketchbooks past. But I still kind of, I don't know, I think it's just the completionist in me. That completionist is telling me, make it look nice, make it look nice, make it look nice, which is a really difficult voice to turn off. But I have this kind of like watercolory style going, and I think all of them kind of look like they belong in a series. And most of these all have been done with my favorite tool in the world currently, the Boku Undo, the pastel set. I love these watercolors. They create such a nice look. And this is the Stillman and Burn watercolor journal. It's not really meant to be used for heavy duty paints, but I have been using heavy duty painting in here, and it's been tolerating it pretty well. You can see that there's a little bit of warping of the paper, but this is going to follow along the same lines. In one way, I do kind of feel like this style is, I'm not cheating, it's not lazy, it's just different, because in previous years, and I don't know if I should feel disappointed by myself or what, I almost feel like I do. I'm starting to judge myself based on this sketchbook that I finished a couple of years ago, because I feel like I advanced like rapidly from when I first started doing traditional art to this book. I feel like this journal in particular, there was a huge like upswing in my skill and my ability that I just can't, not that I can't keep up with it, but that it just, I don't know if I feel like I'm being pigeonholed, and I am. I told myself back in the day, one of the great things about starting over when I came back to the internet after my break, one of the best things about starting over with traditional art is I can do whatever I want with traditional art. I can be as creative as I want because I didn't have the follower base that I used to have, and I didn't feel like I had the judgment. And I told myself, do not get pigeonholed again, because I really got pigeonholed in digital art. And now I feel like I'm pigeonholing myself again. I mean, like, does it matter, really? Because I don't make money off of this. This is supposed to be a fun hobby, and it is a fun hobby to me. It's relaxing. Of course, now that my channel is getting a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more of a job, but it's still a job that I'm not getting paid for, besides a couple of promotions here and there. And that is, again, that is a fun thing to get. I'm happy with the people who have sent me stuff. So this is just, I feel like I can't compete with this. So I don't know. It's just a different style. Do I want to do something that's more advance, but I feel like I'm stuck, like I'm running out of ideas, or do I want to explore other ideas? I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I feel like I just need to pump out stuff sometimes. So this sketchbook is just a different style. I kind of like how simple and soft everything is. They all seem like they scan in pretty well. Just doesn't take as much brain power, I guess. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this guy, and then I think I'm gonna do the Lion King 30th anniversary thing. I would also like to do some silly stuff for TikTok, to be honest with you. And then if we were to talk about my most frequently used art supplies so far this year, because of course I do like to purchase things and I like it when people send me things, but what is it that I still use primarily, like all the time, that I can't quit using no matter what new toys I get to play with? And I think the number one thing is watercolors. This year I have primarily just been using watercolors. I've still used my gouache a bit. I've been trying to pull those out because now they're starting to age, but I've been heavily focusing on just the watercolors. So I showed y'all before in my previous videos what my new watercolor palette looks like, and I set this up with you guys together. So my most number one used colors I think are probably some of my Shinhan pastel watercolors. I use those a lot, and then the Prima Marketing watercolor confections colors I use a lot, and this hasn't really changed much over the years. But there's a Prima Marketing, there's this weird red color that I forget the name of. Somebody told me it once and I had to look it up to remember it again, and I'm too lazy to look it up right now. But there's this weird like purpley red color that I use almost exclusively for my shadows. I love it. I just love the look that it brings to things. And then I also have this little pink color, which I think is my perfect shade for like lion manes. Really like that color as well. And then this black charcoal color, which I believe this one is actually called charcoal, and this is the color that I use for my little lines on my animals, so like their lion mouths or my tiger mouths, the stripes, anything that needs to be black, rings around the eyes, you know, like the eyelashes, it's all this black color. This is my favorite. I also go through a lot of the pinks. All of these pink colors, these are like the Shinhan and the are those ones with Schminke? These ones are the Shinhan and the Schminke pastel colors. I think they're almost pretty much identical. I use those a lot for my backgrounds. I will say that I have been trying really hard to use my Da Vinci colors. These came in a Da Vinci, I'll have to list the name of that Da Vinci set. I had gotten it for like Christmas or something, but this was specifically like an animal set. But a lot of these brown yellowy colors are perfect for those animal coats, like on my tigers and my lions, and I have been trying to use those a lot, and I really enjoy them. So I showed the Boku Undo set. This I have been using for my backgrounds a lot. They're just beautiful colors. I've been using the heck out of that. The next couple things are all like pencils and pens. I just can't stop using these. So I do all of my sketching in the Color Race colored pencils. I'll usually do the Sketchy Sketch in like a light red. I do have like pink and stuff too, but the red is my go-to. And then I have the purple. And then for my line art, after I'm done with my flat colors on my watercolor, when I'm ready for my line art, I use a lot of watercolor pencils. And I go back and forth between which ones are my favorite, but this is the carand'ache, forgive my pronunciation, I don't know how to pronunciate things. I go through the ivory black quickly and a lot. This is like my third pencil and he's dropping down again. And then I also really like this purple red. I've gone through two of these. Not just good for red, it's just good for outlining anyway. Skin tones, fur tones, it just makes like a good outline color, and usually I'll like merge all of these together anyway. And then I have just a bunch of other reds. I have other colors too, but I feel like I go through a lot of reds instead of browns. But these of course are good for like the little fine details in my lion manes and stuff too. These ones are the Albrecht Dürer, the Faber Castell ones. And sometimes I like the points on the carand'ache better than the Faber-Castell, and other days I like the points on these ones better than these ones. I don't know what it is. Some days they just have off days and I'll switch brands, but I go through a lot of these watercolor pencils and I activate these with my other favorite things in the world, which are the Pitt Artist pens. So I'll do my line art with these first, and then I'll go back over these with a pen to activate the watercolor in these to smudge it to create a smooth line art. So that's how I do that. And then the white one too. I'm a huge fan of this white one. I have a bajillion of these and I go through them so fast. And I know your art teacher said don't use white, but I do. I do use white. But this is the perfect color corrector. If you make a mistake, you can just go over it with this and it kind of hides it easier. It's also good for things like highlights. It's good for, of course, I do a lot of animals, so the whites and like their muzzles, the whites of their eyes. And I'm using almost exclusively tan papers for my painting, so the white shows up very nicely. This is not a super duper vibrant white, but it does get the job done, especially if you need tones of whites, I guess. I go through a lot of white watercolors. I have these for my animals, anything that I need white on. And then right now, this is the white colored pencil that I'm abusing. This is the Derwent drawing pencils, and these pencils are awesome. I really like these. This is a nice pencil. It writes on just about everything. The only thing with it is it's kind of a chunky boy. It's kind of hard to fit into some of these pencil sharpeners because it's kind of chunky. The tip doesn't like to get super duper fine, and sometimes I really need a fine tip pencil. So I have like the Copic opaque white, and this one is dead and needs to be tossed out. The Zig cartoonist white is really good too. I actually used to have this one in like pen form. It clots off really easy if you don't maintain it, and then you won't be able to use your pen anymore. But it had a nice fine point to it as well, so if you just need to make those little random like single strands of hair, then this would show up perfect. Right now I primarily just use these for all of my stars, you know, my sprinkles, my splattering of stars in the background of an illustration, because I like that. My other favorite colored pencils, besides the white one, I am enjoying using my Holbein colored pencils. I think I like these better than Prismacolor, but I'm also not a colored pencil artist. I only use them pretty much just for highlights and outlines, but I've been using these in the pastel colors. And then lastly, the brushes. So I've been using the Princeton Velvet Touch, and right now this is my favorite brush. I have these in a couple of different sizes. I think that's it. I keep telling myself to go back to using art supplies that I've received, and then I don't really use them, but then I'm a creature of habit, and I guess that's kind of the downfall of your art supply enthusiast. You collect all this stuff and then you can't possibly get through it, and we know that. We know it, but it's still fun to receive stuff. And in any case, my number one goal for the rest of the year is really just I want to do some sort of major illustration every month and try to do one big, and I'm counting these as big illustrations too, something to add to a portfolio, one at least every month, so that by the end of the year I can do like the 12-month, what I've added to my portfolio. I should have 12 images by then, but of course I'm still doing small drawings in between. I don't have any other sort of goal outside of that. Yeah, that's probably just one big, just blah, none of that makes any sense. But I'm gonna start working on this, and then I will show you what it looks like at the end when I'm finished. And then otherwise, I'll see you guys the next time. You guys have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.